Итак, я приглашаю на сцену финальную пару спикеров, которые поведают нам о важности понимания потребностей клиентов и о том, как это сможет помочь создать успешное программное обеспечение. Итак, встречайте Глен Эш и Дик Булман.
All right, thank you everyone for letting us present. How do we learn from our users? This is definitely a talk with some tension. Glenn's an engineer, I'm not. But we want to learn how to extract users and create software through that. We come from COBOL, a software company based in the United States, in Pennsylvania, and we build business management software. Glenn is our Chief Technology Officer. So he oversees all of our engineering and technology. And I'm our head of product and was formerly a consultant with our company implementing the software. So I worked a lot with our clients.
And Deke has a passion for design and user experience. And I don't think we will ever run out of ideas as long as Deke is on our staff.
Yeah. There's never, more ideas. High volume, get stuff done. All right, so we want to talk about the product management process. This is how we kind of go from information or ideas and get it to the customer or the client. And it all starts with insights. So it's that user or customer or client information. You have to know about your client, you have to know about your customer and their scenarios and their stories to move forward. And how do we do that? We want to gather insights, and those are statements or ideas about human behavior. What makes things happen and why do they interact in the way that they do? And we learn through observation. So it's really important to think and follow and watch your users utilize your products. Your products are probably brilliantly created and engineered, but people are kind of strange. We do weird things, and it's only through observation of people in their context where they would be using the tools that we create that we'll be able to build something truly brilliant. We want to ask a lot of questions, and the questions are the key to how we learn. And Glenn will talk in just a moment about some different kinds of questions and where we start, and things to maybe avoid as well as things to seek after. The next thing is to listen. We learn through listening and talk less and just absorb more. Oftentimes people are willing to share heavily about their experience, what they've done, what their experience is, and we're able to address their issues, but we have to stop ourselves and take that in from them first.
So this is a picture of Henry Ford. Henry Ford is the founder of Ford Motor Company, and he was the one that brought cars to the common people. So one of the quotes that is attributed to Henry Ford is, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. And you would never have had the Model T. So the key here is not to ask what, because they may tell you something that, is not innovative. They'll tell you they want a faster horse. But why do you want a faster horse? You want to get from point A to point B in a quicker time, right? And we can solve that in different ways by giving you this, the Model T. So the real question that we need to ask our clients is why. We need to understand the domain. We need to understand their business. We need to understand how things work, and then we need to ask the question, why? And Deke and James were out at Byler Hydraulics just before we came here, just a week ago. And so tell me a little bit about the Byler Hydraulics company so that we can kind of think about the domain.
Yeah. So this is, again, going back to that user insight, trying to learn more about our customers. We took a visit, and Byler Hydraulics, we'll use them as a case study. They're a company that works in manufacturing. They manufacture cylinders, and if you don't know what a cylinder is, you see them on tractors. If you know what a cylinder is, there's a picture of them, so they produce them, and they produce different sizes for different kinds of firms. So they're not just producing the same thing all the time, but they're producing a few different variations. They also do service and repair. In that industry, you cannot build the cylinder and not repair the cylinder. So they have to do both and. And this is a part of their business. So they have to have tools that not only help them in manufacturing, but to help them provide service, manage time, and people in that process. The other significant element of their business is sales. And they sell both to individuals who might come into their store through retail, but also large quantities for industrial customers, so wholesale. So they're a wholesale, they're a sales firm, they're a manufacturing firm, and they're a service delivery firm.
So what we need to learn from Byler Hydraulics is what is their pain points? What are the things that are causing friction? It takes longer. It makes frustrations. And so we asked the questions for this. So you were out there a week ago, and what pain points did you find when you were there?
Yeah. So there are a lot of them, and we've just listed 4 here. But we could have gone, we have pages, and they're little things. None of them are catastrophic. But they're all things where, man, I wish the software would do this, or when I'm in this situation, I would do this. And one of the ones that stood out to me was this: we never know the location of our products. And you might say, but how's that possible? Well, they have warehouses, and they have some of the product, some of the cylinders are here, but some of that same cylinder is also stored over here. So when I need to fulfill an order, when somebody buys 20 of these, I need to know where 20 are. And sometimes software doesn't provide that answer. And that's one of many small things that we can do to think about what does our user need to help them run their business more efficiently. Where is a gap or a frustration? Where do we cost them time or human capital? Where can our software think more smartly so that humans can do things that are ideal for humans?
So one thing to understand here is that they have a large warehouse.
Yeah.
Do you know about how many products they have?
So they have, in some areas of the warehouse, a few kinds, so 20. But in other areas of the warehouse, they would have hundreds of kinds of products.
Okay. And so we need to understand this business to really think about making a solution for this product. And Deke's information needs to come to the engineering department, and they need to be able to picture what is happening out here in this business so that they can make proper software.
Yep. So then we'll step into the design space. And I think as a designer, we've been designing this whole time. Gathering insights and learning about our customer is part of the design process. But next, we often find ourselves needing to think about the workflow. How do people come to this problem? So in the case of Byler Hydraulic, they didn't know where some parts were, or didn't know the different places they might be. Well, why is this a problem? Going back to that why question. And you have them talk through it. And maybe, in the case of James and I, you show up and have them demonstrate. And as you do that, you can fill out or create some kind of a journey map. So this is an example of a journey map that has a start and an end for a process, and you see how they feel represented in an emoji. So it's important to give yourself understanding of what that client, what that user is experiencing. Is it frustration? Is it contentment? Is it boredom? Are they elated or excited, very happy about what is going on? Sometimes you might find a journey map that is actually in a physical space. So it's not using a software at a desk, but it might be interacting with a bunch of different people in a location, and you might creatively represent it in something like this. And the last example of a journey map I have for you is, I think, very useful, especially those of us working in software and development engineering. And this is a company that provides printing services on the internet. You put in your design, you can order business cards, flyers, posters. And on their map, on the bottom part of it is as their process exists today. And the top part is what they would like it to be. So this helps them think through the process of where they are and where they want, and then they can develop towards a goal. So once you've got your journey map, you have your user information, you might start diving in and start designing screens. So at Cobol ERP, we have a process where we want to learn what is owed to us. We've sold products to customers, but customers still owe us money because they've bought it on credit. So this is a version of a screen that exists today. And what we got some feedback from our clients that this was confusing and maybe even a bit frustrating. And I asked why. They said, well, I start here on the top of the screen, and then I have to jump down here to find out the information. And going back and forth feels very jarring. So working with our engineers, our developers, we started walking through some different ways of maybe looking at this screen. And we start with a very simple boxes. It doesn't have to be pretty or complex. In fact, the more simple it is, the easier it is to throw it away if it isn't something we want to go with. So we start exploring different ideas, the nested list, the stacked list, even a flyout that comes out when you select on it. And what we've come to decide is we think an accordion is really the most useful and logical experience for our clients. So we get additional feedback from the user, and we put that into the design. And to go back to the journey map, the question is, from this screen, what might they do next? And they might collect payment. So we went a step further and added a button to help them go on the next step. So again, it's not just understanding what is frustrating about a screen, but where they're going in that process. And then we have to move to building it, and that's engineering.
I could talk about a lot of things in engineering, and so I just decided to get a few points that are important to think about. It needs to work, and so reliability of your software is very important. If your software gives errors or it can't be accessed, you're going to disrupt the business. And they're going to find workarounds, and after, if it's often enough, they're just going to dump your software. So it doesn't matter how much your software can do. If it's not reliable, it's not going to be useful to your workers. And one thing that is helpful for this is to do logging. Get your error logging so that you can understand when there are problems. One of the goals at Cobol is that we can understand the problems before the client even calls us. And we can fix that before he gets frustrated, because most clients won't call you up until they've experienced the problem maybe 10 times or 20 times. And at that point, the emotions are starting to rise, and they're calling you angry, and that is their first call. What if you could, from your logging, understand that they're having a problem and fix it before those emotions rise? The other thing to think about with your software, it needs to be maintainable. If you're a software developer here who gets the software right on the first release, I want to hire you. You will always need to get feedback on your software, and there's going to be changes to it. And so maintainability is important so that you can continuously make changes. Also, businesses change. So in 2 years from now, you're going to need to come back to the software and make some changes because the business has changed. And so we're in an ever-changing world. How do you keep this all working well and do continuous deployment? It's done by making code that is maintainable. A key to that is writing automated tests. And at COBOL, we want to, we do software development with a pattern called test-driven development. And it helps you create software that is architected in a proper way. And then the last one here, performance. If your software is not performant, it's going to feel clunky, it's going to be difficult to use, you're not going to delight your user. And we want our software to be a delight. And so at COBOL, one of the sayings that we have is performance is a feature. All of this needs to be understanding that we are making a tool for the client. They want to get their work done, they're building something, or they're servicing their clients. That's their focus. The tool here should assist them in it. The tool is not the focus, but the tool is to help them flourish in their business and help their clients also flourish. And so it just works. It's something that you have to keep in mind when you're thinking about engineering software.
Yeah, great. So we've engineered the software, we've built a bunch of things, but as a nod to Donior and James' talk, it's not done until we release it. And you release it and you get feedback. So part of your release plan should always include getting feedback from your users through beta testing. So those small initial cohort or group of users who will give you information back, give you feedback that you can take and use to evolve and iterate. But shipping is important, and it's all just an idea. Even if you've put code into your system and you've done all the work until it goes to the client, it is merely an idea. So the end of the product management process is to release and get it in the hands of users. And then once you've done that, we're going to do it all over again for the next tool, the next version, the next iteration. Because every time we put software out, every time we create tools or features, we're going to learn something about ourselves and what we know how to do. Technology will change. You all will invent something new and brilliant. And our users are going to give us even more insights that help us assist them in achieving their goals. Thank you. Yeah?